Good morning, everyone. Glenn Calloway from down below the basement. Hope everyone is having a great day. It is New Year's Eve today. I want to start off by wishing everyone a very happy and healthy New Year's and 2025. Thank you all so much for hanging on with me in this channel. It means so much to me. I feel like we're all friends. I love the comments back and forth. There's a lot of viewers who we just exchange more than one comment back and forth, and I absolutely love it. It's the only reason I do this is to find like-minded people who have a passion for music, and it's amazing. It's a blessing to me, and I thank each and every one of you. I love you all. Thank you. So here's to a great 2025. I just thought I would reflect on the year that was. I came into 23/24 focused on two artists. And I think the one artist, I kind of owe it to my buddy Steve, who had a channel, All the World's a Stage, and he has promised to come back in the new year better than ever. And Steve, we miss you so much. Please start making videos again. I love you, buddy. We started talking a lot about Rory Gallagher, and I was a Rory Gallagher fan back in the 70s. I got the opportunity to see him with Taste in 1969, again in a small club in Toronto in the early 70s. And I had his albums, and then just for some reason he just went off my radar. But it wasn't for boredom or anything. It was just, I don't know, I just moved on for some reason. And Steve talked a lot about Rory Gallagher, one of his favorites. And then he said, do you know about this album? And he sent me a private message. Rory, it is called, I forget, World Without Wheels. I said, no, I wasn't aware. And he said, well, Bela Fleck plays on it. Well, Bela is my friggin' hero. And so immediately I found this CD, and it's fantastic. It's kind of a compilation of all Rory playing with a bunch of different people. So it's really good. That ignited my love of Rory again, and then I ended up buying a whole bunch of stuff. So Deuce, which is the anniversary edition, 2 CD edition, the first album, Rory, a whole bunch of stuff. I was really heavy into Rory Gallagher, and still think he's amazing. Thank you, Steve. Second one was another artist that Steve loves, but I'm not sure if, how I decided to get back into. I don't know what ignited this, but Ian Hunter. At the same time I was really getting into Rory, it was Ian Hunter, and I had this album already, and I picked up a comp. I can't remember what it's called now, but it was a really good comp. It's excellent. And then I started to realize that, this guy, he was another, I loved Ian in the 70s, and started getting into him. So first, say, month or two of 2024 was Ian Hunter and Rory Gallagher. Then, I don't know how this happened, I started to follow, get into, explore the British folk scene from the 60s. It might have been from Jason Arsenault. If you guys remember Jason, I don't think he's doing videos anymore, but he did the live chats with us, with me and Sam and Rob, and he's just the greatest guy in the world. I think we were chatting back and forth, and he was telling me he got the first Bert Jansch album, and the other one, Jack O'Ryan, two of them on vinyl. And I went, Bert Jansch is an artist I've never really explored. Known the name forever. Saw Neil Young back, 2014 or something, and Neil was all over talking about Bert Yance through the whole show. He mentioned what an influence he was and how great he was. I thought, I'm going to look for that album. So I found a twofer CD with the first Bert Yance album and Jack O'Ryan, and it blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. My first obsession of 2024, because I have an obsessive personality when it comes to music and artists. That just sent me on quite a journey. I ended up watching a documentary that is on YouTube for free. It's called Acoustic Roots. I highly recommend you watch it. It's great. You'll see how this whole British scene was a big influence on Bob Dylan and Paul Simon and Jimmy Page and Donovan and just a whole bunch of people. Whole bunch. It's a great documentary. Even if you're not into folk music, it's a great music documentary. Acoustic Roots. Watch it. So then you find out that Bert Yance, I probably knew this, was in Pentangle, and I picked up this Pentangle album and absolutely loved it. It's fantastic. And so I ended up buying a bunch of Pentangle albums. I bought a bunch of Bert Yance albums. Then all the people who were associated with that music scene, John Renborn, who was also in Pentangle, Davy Graham, I can't think of them all, a ton of them. I got a bunch of them. Then at Zap Records in Coburg, Ontario, my buddy Tim, who's also a big Bert Yance fan, he said, have you seen this? Bert Yance at the BBC. I said, no, I have not. 8 CDs. Bert Yance. I bought it. Absolutely freaking love it. It is so good. This is incredible. I think I'm going to play it today. Just amazing stuff. Amazing. This man is such a great guitar player. I think if you're a Zeppelin fan, Black Mountain Side off the first Zeppelin album, that's Bert Yance. That's exactly what he sounds like. Because Jimmy kind of stole that song from Bert. Anyway, so that was like a huge obsession for quite a while, and still is. I'm still really enjoying that whole scene. Next, an artist that I've been kind of following a little bit because he's been getting some notoriety, and I'm a bluegrass guy, was Billy Strings. But not like, just, I'm still a bit of an outsider when it comes to Billy. And then I decided to pick up this album, Home. And mind blown, that took over everything for the summer, the fall, to this day. Billy is my absolute favorite artist right now, current, as we speak. I've eaten up and got every bit of note of music he has available. In October, my nephew Jack and I drove to Michigan and went to see Billy live we went to 2 shows at Pine Knob Theater in Michigan. And after almost 60 years of concert going, it was my favorite live music event I've ever attended, and that includes Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, I don't care, Blind Faith, whoever you want to mention. This was my absolute favorite music event that I've ever attended. I'm still like this from it. And I've got my eye on when there's tour dates being announced next summer and fall. I will be at one of those shows. Now, in the summer, my wife and I decided to put our house up for sale and move on. So we sold our house, and I had to give it the basement that I've been doing videos in for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in March. And we moved into a new place, and I had to make up a new basement for myself, and I absolutely love it. It was actually one of the most positive moves I've ever made in my life, and trust me, I have moved. I just love it down here. It's great. I created this whole space myself, and right at home here. My dog Peyton's right at home here. It's all we need. I also, at the same time, Decided that because I'm figure at my age now, if I'm going to start renting places, I'm probably going to be moving more often than I would like. And I didn't want to be moving like big floor standing speakers and stuff, so I sold my floor standers, my white monitor audio silver 300 series speakers, and bought a set of monitor audio bookshelf speakers, a gold series 50s. They are absolutely incredible speakers. I absolutely love them. Everything's going really good. So on that whole move thing, pretty positive stuff. The other thing that happened to me in 2024, we all know what this album is. The Beatles, the White Album. You know what this is to me? The only Beatle album I played in 2024. The only one. And I think I only played sides 1 and 2. It came to the realization, an epiphany, that I just don't listen to the Beatles anymore and have no interest in listening to the Beatles anymore. Don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-Beatle. I still think they're the greatest, most influential band in the history of the world. That will never change. Sgt. Pepper is still the greatest album of all time. But I just have no passion to listen. There's just so much other music out there to just, when I sit down to listen to music, I have no, it never crosses my mind to put a Beatle album on. It's just so weird for me to think like that, because my whole life it's just been, I've had Beatles tattooed on my forehead. Anyway, then I decided to do, well, whose is my favorite band then? If it's not the Beatles are still the greatest, but who's my favorite band? It really was a no-brainer. The Grateful Dead. I anointed the Grateful Dead my absolute favorite band, and they were probably number 2 anyway, but so I am Grateful Dead number 1, Yes number 2, King Crimson number 3. They're my top 3 bands. I came to that realization. One more thing I want to mention before I go. My latest obsession. It happened sometime after going to see Billy Strings. I was a big jam band guy back in probably late 90s, early 2000s. I'd gone to a couple of festivals and saw some bands, and I was a big fan of like String Cheese Incident and Leftover Salmon and Colonel Bruce Hampton and the Aquarium Rescue Unit. Bands like the Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, who were considered somewhat of a jam band. And I had one CD from a band called Widespread Panic that goes back, I don't know how long ago I had it, and I don't even know what happened to it. I must have traded it in at some point. So I decided to get a Widespread Panic CD when I was in a used CD store. And I picked up this, which is called Space Wrangler, and this, Ain't Life Grand. And brought them home and played them and went, man, there's not a bad note on these albums. This is a great band. So from then, I ended up finding, when I mentioned Widespread, there's a few spread heads that follow my channel, and they were putting, oh wow, Widespread Panic, you really got to hear their live stuff. So I found this, Light Fuse Getaway, possibly the greatest live album I've ever heard in my life. Possibly. If I continue to love this as much as I do now, it will be number 1 of all time. It's that good. Light Fuse Getaway, incredible. Then I just started to find the odd CD. Another one, Don't Tell the Band, it's a double. And then I was at my buddy again, Zap Records in Coburg, and I said, you got any Widespread Panic? And he goes, yeah. He said, I got quite a few CDs. So I didn't pick them up right away, but his Boxing Day sale, we were at 25% off. I said to myself, I might as well pick up a few of those Widespread Panic CDs, because I got them for like $5 each. And I think it was think I bought 5 of them, and they were like $45 less 25%, which is what, $12 off, about $33 for 5 CDs. And I bought this. And I bought this, which is freaking awesome. Incredible. I bought this every day, which is almost as incredible as the last one I showed you. And I got this one, which is, again, almost as incredible as the last one I gave you. And I got this one, which is pretty good. I have not heard a bad Widespread Panic song. Not one bad song on all those albums. And yesterday, my wife and I took a visit to Kingston, Ontario, and I said, I want to run into the used CD store. I didn't want to spend much time in there. I went under the G section just in case they had some wacky, off-the-wall Grateful Dead stuff, and then I went to the W's and looked for Widespread Panic, and they had a live album, live at Myrtle Beach. Now, this is 2005, I think, so it's after their amazing guitar player had passed away in 2002 from pancreatic cancer, unfortunately. But they're still a great band, and they still got stuff, and there's some long, jammy stuff on this. I've only listened to disc 1 so far, but Widespread Panic live in Myrtle Beach, fantastic. That's my year in a nutshell. It took me 16 minutes to review 365 days. I don't know what 2025 holds. I know it holds a ton of music discovery, and yeah. Oh, I forgot. This has been a positive video. I hate to end it on a bad note, but I did have one really traumatic thing happen to me in 2024. I actually ended up with severe anxiety because of it, and paranoia, and I had to go into therapy. I've not told anybody this yet. I keep my personal life personal, but this is pretty serious, and I'm on a medication, and I don't know how I'm ever going to be normal again. I try my best every day to get up and just think positively and try and get it out of my mind. But my best friend fell in love with the Beach Boys. He thinks the Beach Boys albums are like really good. And it just devastated me. I don't know how I'm ever going to get over it. So that's it. But let's not leave this on a negative note. So anyway, I want everybody to have a happy new year. Larry, I love you. And see you in January 1st.